Welcome back to the Rude Dude Podcast. I am your host, Papa Loke, with my partner, the Cree Father. How you doing there, Cree?
Well, the Cree Father, dude, is doing better today than he was the last 5 days, brother.
That's
Doing
right.
doing better than I was, man. I can get into that in a second after I ask you. How are you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I got into a routine where now I guess I do legs on Thursday. It worked out. I've been pretty consistent, and I
Nice.
got back to legs today. I love a routine, so we did that again and had a good workout and excited about the podcast. I'm a little nervous about the topic, but I think that's what makes it good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited. I'm feeling good, man. I'm ready. I'm happy to be here with you. We talked about this before, but I love having guests, but I also love just sitting here with you because that's what we do. And it's awesome just having a conversation with my boy.
Yeah, dude, there is something to just sitting here and not having to wait for the other person and having to ask a certain structured question. I mean, I do enjoy the guests as well because it's a little peek inside somebody else's story, but there's nothing better than sitting here and just bullshitting with you, man. And I
Yeah,
agree with you. Sorry, dude.
it's a little more stressful. Like you have to guide and navigate and keep it interesting. And I mean, I'm not putting it down, but it's just a different thing. You know what I
it
mean?
it is a different thing, dude. It is. And I'm glad that you fucking Thursdays used to always be my leg day back when I went to the gym. Always Thursdays. Mondays, chest and fucking tries. Tuesday, back and buys. Wednesday, shoulders. And then Thursdays, legs. And then Fridays was fucking pretty much everything back to chest and tries. And that's on another story though.
Some bodybuilder Cree.
Some fucking guy who literally looks like a fucking noodle. If you're for our YouTube watchers. Well, let me get
Well,
into let me
let's
get
talk
into
about your mental health a little.
Well, man, as everybody knows, for our dedicated listeners, we've been very transparent about my current situation with or my past situation with anxiety, depression. It's something I've dealt with like my entire life. Uh, and dude, these last 5 fucking days have been a old whopperoony for the old Daddy Cree over here, man.
The old young Cree.
Yeah, I was struggling hard over here with just this massive anxiety loop, man. I mean, like from like sun up to sundown, intrusive thoughts were coming in like fucking like jet bombers. I was all over the place, dude. And then when that happens to me per se, it's fucking exhausting. It's exhausting because you're just like mentally stressed and fatigued. And then at this stage of my life, I'm trying to work while doing that. And then the moment I get off work, you got screaming children, and it's just, dude, it's a stress machine. Um, and so yeah, I had a rough week, man. I just had a really rough week.
Yeah, and what did you have a pal that perhaps suggested anything?
You know what? There's this asshole that I sit with on Thursdays, who I finally reached out because I tried to take care of it, right? Like I used to handle it in different ways. Like I used to take medication for it, like lorazepams and things like that. And I ended up, just talking with you about it, and you're like, man, you got to get back in the fucking gym, dude. And lo and behold, you were right, man. Like I before Graham was born, I was going to the gym 5 days a week, right? And
Mhm.
then the injection of him fucked the whole schedule up, right? And I just don't have the time. But the thing is now I have to find the time because I did 2 consecutive days of working out, and it's a massive change in my overall mood. And it's that missing piece that like I just have to have at this stage of my life, right? Like I just have to have it.
Dude, there are some very important lessons here, and this was not to stroke myself for giving you a suggestion. Here's the point to our listeners. When's the last time you exercised? When's the last time you did physical activity? You don't have to lift weights if that's not your thing, but going on a walk, going on a run, boxing, hiking, riding your bike, whatever you walking the dog, like um physical activity is so important for not only your body but your mind.
Mhm.
There's a reason that I say I always work out on Thursdays. I know that my brain's sharper, my energy's better to do this podcast.
Yeah.
And if I always talk about, and this is what I said to you on here, like if there's an issue, if you have something going on, like bust a move.
Mhm.
And so what can we do if our mental health is slipping? Well, we can try and do things that make us feel good. Is even and this gets even deeper into like self-care. So you're not an exercise person, you're not a workout person, fine. Like for Cameron, you could do your painting. When's the last time you painted and listened to your Zen music? When's the last time you meditated? When's the last time you did yoga? When's the last time,
Played
if you
guitar,
pray,
right?
did
Yeah.
you pray? Play the guitar. Exactly. Like this, we're talking about self care. And you said like it's been hard since Graham came. I don't have the time. I totally get that, dude. Like 100%. I'm not knocking you for that. But I also say, like, we have time for what we make time for.
Mhm.
And one of the greatest things I heard from like this doctor said, if you don't take time for your physical health, you will be forced to take time for your physical health. Meaning, you don't take care of your body and stay healthy, you're going to be fucking sick later and you'll
Yep.
be bed rest, whatever the hell else. So, yeah, I can't stress it enough. And I'm really happy that it helped and made you feel a little better.
Well, thanks, dude. And it's super true, right? Like I'm active as hell because I have the two kids, right? Like Addison's 4 and Graham's 9, and I got the dog. Like I'm moving around. Like I hit 10,000 steps daily, right? Like I'm not like one of these people that just is like sedentary. Like I move. But that's not enough for me, right? It's just not to achieve how I feel today and how I felt yesterday. I have to do that extra. Like that, it has to be the 10,000 steps plus like a run on top of that and lifting some weights. Like it has to be, there has to be more for me to feel this level headedness. And I think it's just maybe like a chemical imbalance or something like that. But like, dude, I have really low, I can get down really quick. And this is a natural way for me and you and everybody else listening for us to kind of boost ourselves up a little bit, because that natural high that you get after that is unbelievable, right? Like driving about 15-20 minutes after you're in the car and you're, I mean, I'm sitting there like fucking like depression. What the fuck is this, dude? Suck a dick,
Yeah.
man. I feel great.
You're like, I'm going to go home and fucking whip these dishes out. I might do some vacuuming in this bitch. Like,
I'm gonna
let's
put the
go.
I'm gonna fucking put the podcast on 12 new platforms. I mean, dude, I was getting after it, dude. Like,
Dude, you were crushing it today. I was like, maybe we should do this. 5 minutes later, you're like, done. Maybe we should do this. Yep, I got that too. Here we go, baby. I was like, God damn, my boy's out there getting it.
dude, a quick run, so a little arm workout and some fucking protein and creatine got the Cree over here jacked out of his mind, bro. But I think that another thing I wanted to hit on before we get on the topic was I was trying to figure out where this all came from, right? Like, hey, where the hell
Yeah.
did this little loop come from? And I gotta be honest, man, it's this little surprise grief, dude. I miss Michael, right? Like I saw him a lot, right?
Mm.
And I didn't think I was gonna miss him that much. Well, I mean I don't mean it that way, Michael. I know you're probably listening. I knew I was gonna miss you, right? Like I did, and
I get what you're saying, though.
but
You
I
didn't think
didn't
it
think
would realize how
yes,
much it would affect you.
exactly, dude. Exactly. Like when I went to go say goodbye to him, I mean, I'm bawling my fucking eyes out, bro. You know what I mean? Like I wrote a 3-page handwritten letter. Like I gave him one of my one of,
Hey, no,
one of my first chips. Yeah, like I gave him one of my first chips as like a motivating thing for him, and like I put some thought into it. And what it did, dude, is it actually like it just hit me with that grief, and that is an emotion that is fucking rough, dude. That is rough, and then it got me thinking, like, hey, man, well, fuck, I miss him. I'm gonna be moving next year. How scary and sad is that gonna be? And then,
Mm.
dude, it just and then the hamster wheel started. And then all of a sudden, like I said, I'm having thoughts about fucking everything. Hey, we should jump headfirst off this bridge, or hey, let's
You know,
fucking
what else? A semi truck could just bust through my living room right now and kill my whole family.
exactly, dude. Hey, that guy walking down the street is probably gonna kill me in my sleep. Like that's fantastic. Like you know what I mean? Like, dude. And then it was fucking on like Donkey Kong, bro. So I like to kind of try to get to the source, and I think that was kind of it. I think I got bamboozled into some grief that I just wasn't expecting. I was expecting sadness, but I wasn't expecting that much.
Well, I'm glad you identified that. I always like to do that and try to do that. Sometimes you can't. You know, my sponsor told me that one time. It's like sometimes feelings are just feelings and you feel
Yeah,
shitty and
yeah.
it's not really a reason. But if you can, it's good to pinpoint it. And then what can you do? You can call Michael, you can send him a text, say, "Hey buddy, I miss you. I've been thinking about you, whatever." Um, and that's cool. Another thing I wanted to touch on before we get out of this topic was you mentioned you're active and you get all your steps and all that, and that's cool. But I think the other element of what working out does for you or anyone, or like a run or your walk, whatever, is being alone.
Mm-hmm.
If you're working, talking to people around people all day, and then you come home and you got your wife and two kids like running circles around the house, banging pots and pans, like we all need some time to ourselves. We all need a little private me time with silence or music or whatever that looks like for you, but like some time away. And this is not like, oh fuck my family. It's like what we need for ourselves. I know I do, and for any healthy relationship, like you don't need to always be with your partner. You guys don't need to always go the same place together all the time. Like um this all right, I froze. I don't remember exactly where I was at, but the moral of the story, get yourself some me time, whatever that looks like for you. I think that's super important.
Yeah, man, and even I formulated a plan that even if I can't make it to the gym, I can go out on my patio or in my garage, and I can find time for it when the kids are asleep. I if I got to get up a little bit earlier, it's I got to make that time, and it's got to happen because I can't be feeling like I was feeling, and it's only for my benefit. So that's
Yeah.
where I'm at.
And for people looking to get started, I don't want to go to a gym, that's scary, whatever. Commit to doing 10 push-ups and 10 air squats every day
There you go.
or whatever. 20 push-ups a day. Whatever you are, pick one time. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I do 20 push-ups and 20 air squats every morning or every night before. But start
Yep.
small with something like that. But I think we've belabored the point enough.
Well,
I
thanks for
do
letting
have
me talk about it.
Yeah, man. I think it's important. Like this is the whole point of our show is to be honest and show that we struggle too and talk about how to get through it because that's what we want to help our listeners do.
Amen to that, brother.
So I have news. I don't know if I told you, but the super boss has sold his company.
Yay! Congratulations, SB. Congratulations.
Yeah,
I think it's long overdue for SB to go right off into the fucking sunset and stop working. For Christ's sake.
yeah, yeah. Well, he's not going to stop working because he's a crazy farm boy. But he has to work for them for another like 2 years, maybe 1 year actively. But this is what he wants. He wants to work for someone else. He wants someone else to be in charge and everything not fall on him, have some structure and some support put in by other people, and he just does his job.
Yep.
But it's very exciting. And he's I was regaling Kristen with the story of CPAC last night and how I got a job working for another solar company. They laid me off, and the next day or the next week, we were working for them as a subcontractor, my dad and I hired the guy who worked with me. So the two people who were already doing their jobs as employees came back, and we were doing them as subcontractors
Nice.
like the next week. And my dad and I were working out of a Toyota Tundra. That's all we had. We didn't have a trailer or anything like that. And out of the house, out of the Toyota Tundra, driving around the Bay Area together, staying in hotel rooms together, same hotel room. We've now sold the company for a nice little chunk of change, and it's just really cool to think of how far we come and what how we started. And I'm just really happy for my dad. So it's some exciting news.
That is exciting news, and congratulations to you both. I'm glad you got to share those experiences of traveling around and working with your dad. I got to do that because that's how I initially got into surveying before I went off and started working for my own companies. It's something else when you're sitting there sleeping in the same hotel room with your dad and you're working together and shit and traveling around. It was some of the best times of my life, actually. I'm glad I had that. So yeah, congratulations, guys, and that's a testament to hard work, right? Because you build it up coming out of a Toyota Tundra, and now you're selling the company for a pretty penny. What a win!
Yeah. Yep. With, like 3, 4 trucks and a warehouse, and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's pretty cool. So, we are going to get into our topic, and you hear you
All the hard episodes are always on you, dude.
Yeah, what the fuck, dude?
I
Don't
don't.
you have hard shit?
Well, I mean, I did just say that I was depressed and shit. I mean, there's that, but it's like it's always like it's like, oh, you can hear the trepidation in Henry's voice. What could be coming?
Yeah, so I'm gonna start with a little anecdote that will explain and lead us into our topic. I learned a valuable lesson when I first came to Morgantown and first started going into meetings and stuff about myself. And that was when I would hear people, and what I'm about to say is not my actual view, it's not my current view. You'll know that, but I'm going to say it how my truth. So, when I would hear people say, "Yeah, my kids got taken by CPS. They live with my parents, whatever this that," I'd be like, "Fucking piece of shit." Um, and I I judged people so hard who didn't have their kids. And one day I was like, "Dude, your fucking kids live in California and you live in West Virginia. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?" And the valuable lesson here, and this is what I've told my daughter, the valuable lesson is we pick things out in others that we don't like about ourselves. I tell my daughter, when people are hating on you, there's two reasons. They see something in you that they don't like about themselves, or they're jealous of you. That those are the reasons that people hate. And I learned this lesson of like, oh my God, I'm so harsh on people, but what it actually was is this fucking guilt that I carry for not living even in the same state as my children.
Yeah,
And
dude.
that's been a journey for me.
Yeah, dude. I think it's kind of crazy. There I go with the dudes again. I think that's absolutely kind of wild how you could sit there and be like, "Hey, what a humongous piece of shit." You know what I mean? And then lo and behold, a little bit of time goes by and you have that kind of revelation. Like, wait, I am that person. I'm not
Yeah.
saying you're a piece of shit, but you get what I'm saying? Be like that person and I are the same person. And
Yeah.
and and I know
It's
that this
been
is
a
a
struggle.
yeah, this is a very, very difficult topic, dude. And I got to be honest, I've thought about it a lot. Uh, and I've just sat and I've even talked with Ash about it on how I always wonder how you process this. You know what I mean? Because I'm a parent and I've sat here and I've just kind of been like, hey, how does he deal with that? Like, does that cause this internal dilemma? Blah 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 blah. And I worry about you sometimes in regards to it. Um, I'm gonna turn this episode into kind of like an interview into you, if that's okay, because I just have some questions, bro. Um, when you went out to West Virginia, right? You had Katie already. Uh, was that always going to be a permanent move? Like, I don't think you and I have ever talked about that. Was that going to be a permanent thing, or did it just happen organically?
So it wasn't it was not planned to be permanent, but there was a plan of me sticking around here for a while because, and this ties into all this, I had gone to rehab and gone home 3 times before I came here. So, what do they always suggest when you get out of rehab? Go to sober living. What did I never do when I got out of rehab? Went to sober living. What did I always do when I got out of rehab and didn't go to sober living? Relapse.
Yeah.
And part of that is community, community is like our number one thing, and you get close to all these people in rehab and then you move away or like back to home and you're not by any of them, and you don't have any accountability. You go back to your same shit, you go back to the same places, play things, play toys, and you get right back to the same bullshit.
Uh-huh. Well, I think it's crazy. So when did you make the decision to actually stay though?
Well, it's never been it's never been like I said, that's it, I'm just staying here. It's always been more like, I'm doing well here. For the first few years too, 'cause here's what tipped me off. So I visited California a lot.
Mhm.
Throughout the years, I was going, especially in the beginning, I was coming back 2 to 3 times a year. And something that tipped me off about staying here was I would go back to California and get straight into the heebie-jeebies. This
Mhm.
place, these people, these things, my liquor store. I know the fucking guy who owns that. I know he's got a bottle of this sitting in the freezer for me that he put there, like all that shit. And not to mention, there's like 2 liquor stores in all of Morgantown. There's 2 liquor stores on every fucking corner of Sacramento, dude. It is outrageous.
Yeah.
Um, and just that experience, and I want to say this gently, carefully, but there are reasons there are reasons other reasons that I can't be in Sacramento. There are relationships that are better from a distance.
Okay.
So anyway, back to the main answer was, okay, I'm doing great in Morgantown because I don't have all the stories, all the trouble, all the bad nights, all the bad experiences, all those shitty fucked up memories, and all the liquor stores I used to go, all the bars I used to go to, all the shit that happened. I don't have any of that here. Here is only recovery. Here is only I only know people who don't drink or use. That's it. And back home there's all that shit. So when I would go visit, I just was like, oh, I thought I was cool, but going back there made me want to use, and maybe I'm not quite ready for that. That's what originally started pushing it back.
Okay. So that's actually that makes a bunch of sense. I think it makes it I give you some more credit for that, dude, because that's some pretty good self-awareness, knowing like, hey, every time I come back here, I got the old devil, like you got the Gipper in your ear, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
and knowing like, hey, I know, like you said, I love that you brought up the liquor stores all around the corner, and I know that owner, and hey, look, if I go to that liquor store and then just have a drink, maybe I'll go down to my other favorite place, which is Sac County, and you know what I mean, like, so I get that, like, the change of scenery was so vital to your success. And I've seen this before, and it kind of brings me into another, like, kind of topic. It's not even or a talking point. It's called like relocation recovery. I saw it with my Aunt Bonnie. She couldn't get sober for the life of her, right? And the only time she was able to sustain any sort of sustained sobriety was when she went to rehab in Utah. And when she stayed in Utah, it was, and the moment she came back to California, I'm not speaking on, I don't know what's going on with her in her recovery, but it didn't work out. And so it shows that you actually were truly like done. You know what I mean, dude? Like you were like, hey, dude, this just doesn't jive with me anymore. So it did kind of happen organically, kind of like I thought. Like it just wasn't a plan, and then it became the plan.
Well, yeah, and it was like, okay, I really want to stay sober,
Mm-hmm.
and staying so I was just home for 4 fucking days, and I wanted to use more than I have in the last 4 fucking months, so
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck
maybe
that.
this isn't the best idea for me. And as far as relocation recovery, I would say it's like any other aspect of recovery, which is it's not a one size fits all. It
Mhm.
works for some people, it doesn't work for other people because another one of our little idioms is everywhere I go, there I am. So
Yeah.
like the thing you're never going to get away from these problems that are inside you. You have to address those. But in my case, it worked for me. And I think another major factor of this is Morgantown is like a small town, especially in the sense of our community. Like I have such a tight knit community that I was never able to cultivate in Sacramento. Not that it's not there. I also didn't try and I also didn't do it like I'm doing it here.
Yep.
But like my community here is unbeatable, and that was such a huge factor in my decision. And you said like when was it stay? It's never been stay. It's just been like, well, this is working for now. And then I'd go home and I'm like, ooh, that didn't work. And then, I had a relapse and I was like, kind of started my clock over again. Like, well, fuck.
Mhm.
I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready to go home again now because I just had that, um, back when I got to like 3.5 years. Then it was like, well, I was thinking about going home, but I relapsed and I basically said fuck everything and went home for like the summer. And
Mhm.
I started doing the same shit. And my relapse got way worse at home. I was doing the exact same stuff as I was doing before, working for my dad, drinking while working. Um, and it all just got exactly the same. And I was like, I have to go back to Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah.
And I just, it sucks. It's not easy, but the other thing that always struck me was that when I went back, I always wanted to go back to my daughter before, right? Because she's been around since I've been to all my rehabs. But
Mhm.
going back to my daughter and being the same drunk, useless fuck is not going back to my daughter. I was
Mhm.
giving her no benefit going back and getting fucked up again. There was no that wasn't a positive experience for her or me. There wasn't any like just physically being there is not being there.
Dude, that's a profound statement. Like, and that's a powerful statement. And it's all sort of making way more sense the more and more you're talking about it, right? Like, hey, if I come back, uh, you know, here's dad. Here's the dad you always remembered, right? and so nothing's really changed. If anything, we're just making it worse. So the difference is now that she sees it from afar, but or when you come back, she's seeing the new version, right? And I think that is the best part of the whole entire thing. Um, I do have another question for you, dude. Like, the longer you have gotten sober and you've been out there, because how long you been out in West Virginia?
6 years now.
6 years. Okay. Has it gotten harder being away for that long?
One thing I want to touch on before I answer that question on the last subject is basically it comes down to being sober in West Virginia is better than being drunk and being home there
Yep.
with Katie.
Yeah.
As far as has it gotten easier or harder?
Like, do you beat
It's
yourself up from time to time? Do you get sad and shit sometimes?
I do, and it's hard. That's a hard question to answer because I feel like it's both. I feel like at times I make my peace with it, and I know why I'm doing it, and at other times I'm like, beat myself up and I'm a piece of shit and all this, and like this is why I felt the need to have this conversation and have this topic, even though it sucks and it's not fun, because I really do struggle with it. But it's kind of the stuff that all this stuff that I've been explaining to you so far, like there are reasons. I'm not just out here
Yeah.
for shits and giggles, fucking off, like living my best life, like, and the oh shit, I lost it. Go ahead.
Well, I think that's another great point, dude, is what's the motivation, right? Like there's a lot of people who aren't dads because they choose to not be fucking dads, and they're just not there, right? Like hey, like yeah, I have kids, fuck it. Like see you later. Like that's not the case. Like your purpose for being there is so you can be there. And that's the simplest way I can put it, right? Like hey, you are across the United States, but you also live in the 21st fucking century and can be on a plane super quick, right? And
And
you
we have
can and you
FaceTime and
have
everything else.
FaceTime and texting and everything like that. And you having those conversations now are a hell of a lot more important than, her coming home to you assed out on the couch, right? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like so I get it, but I think it would be tough, man. Like from a father's standpoint, if I was far away, like, I would just be like, fuck, dude, maybe I'm missing some things, or, and I'm not trying to make it worse for you, but oh fuck, I missed that, or oh fuck, I missed this, or oh fuck, I should have been there for that. And I think that would be a hard struggle for me personally. And it seems like you carry it with a lot of grace. So I have a lot of respect for you in that regard. I haven't told you that before because you and I haven't really talked about this, but you do carry it with grace. It probably eats at you internally, but you don't let it show too much, bud. So hats off to you.
Yeah, it's I mean, there's no way around it, like, it sucks. The other way that I justify it to myself, and I've actually had this conversation with my daughter, Katie, is something you kinda just pointed to, which is some people are just pieces of shit their whole life. Some people never change. Some people's dads suck. Some people's dads beat them or alcoholics or whatever their whole life, and they never change and they just always suck. At least I changed. At least I turned my life around. At least I did all this work to become a better person and to be able to better support you, because I wasn't offering anything. The old version of me wasn't offering any kind of like support. And I also try not to beat myself up because I was with Katie for the first oh like 10 years of her life, and she lived with me, and I wasn't I was fucked up a lot, and that wasn't cool, but I always loved her and I always treated her pretty good, and I never like was abusive or anything like that. I did have a fucking crazy fly off the handle temper. Um and there's a ton of things I would change, but I do try to give myself some credit that like Katie and I had a lot of good time together and we were loved, or she was very loved by me.
Mhm,
But I mean, this brings us to our next point, which is that I have another daughter, Mila,
mhm,
and the whole Katie thing, her and I have talked a lot, and she got to her teenage years, and in the last few it became clear to me that if I moved home, she didn't even want to come live with me. She had her issues with me, and also she has a good with my dad. They got a good thing going on, whatever. So it was like that ship's kind of sailed. And for Katie, I just look forward to her and I's relationship as an adult because I know it'll be awesome. We got a long life to live together, knock on wood. But now there's young Mila who is amazing, and it's
yeah.
like restarted the clock, and that part is that that part makes it super difficult yet again.
Yeah, so it is kind of like the restart button on the Super Nintendo, right? Like you're just like boop boop. But I think there's a silver lining to that. And I'm super glad that you brought up the relationship that you and Katie had during that time while you were out here. I saw nothing of the sort that was anything egregious or you being, a bad parent or anything like that. I know that you love your daughters. You know what I mean? Like I know that. And I know how much you love Katie. You can see how much you post about her, you know what I mean? And sometimes if something happens and you can't be out there, it affects the shit out of you because you love the shit out of your daughter. Now, in Mila's case, she has the benefit of getting this version of you. Yes, you are far away, and so you're, you know, not seeing a lot. But when she does, she's getting the full version of you, unlike something that Katie, didn't get, unfortunately. So there is a benefit to that, but then it is hard, I imagine, because ready, she's growing up and like, oh yeah, my dad lives across the country, right? And here's some other guy who's with my mom. like, there's those weird fucking dynamics, dude, that I don't know how to navigate it because I'm not familiar with it. You know what I mean? It's so weird to me.
It is strange, and Kristen's kinda reassured me. She's like, "Bicoastal parenting is a thing now, like, you're not the only one doing it,"
Yeah.
and we have a beach trip this summer, to North Carolina, and we've asked Ashley, who's Mila's mom, if she's willing to let Mila come, and she said yes, so
Yeah.
we have options like her coming out for the summer and stuff. That ship has sailed with Katie. Katie used to come out here a lot in the summer when she was a little younger, and then she completely lost interest in that. But her and I got to see each other a good bit, like especially when I first came out here. Um, but you know, I have to acknowledge, like, if anybody was watching on video, when you said like I'm a good dad, my like face sunk. It's I do get that. Like I get it from Kristen, I get it from a few people. And I want to believe that it's true. I know it's true because I
It is
know
true.
that I love my children. Um, but like me just not physically being there is what makes that compliment so hard for me to take because in my head I'm just like, no, you're not. Like you suck. And it's this is why we're talking, like, it's really hard, man. Like I said, like, it's back and forth. I make my peace with it, and then sometimes I just completely feel like
Yeah. Yeah, dude. And that's I thanks for being so fucking vulnerable about this, dude. Because uh I imagine that happens all the time, right? Like, yeah, internally that you love your kids. Uh but hey, you had this vision of what, a dad looks like, right? Like you grew up with your dad being in the house, right? So when you see that you're not there for that, it would probably naturally make you feel like, hey, well, who the hell am I, right? I'm not even fucking there, right? But this is such a fucking hard topic, actually. Like it's putting me at like a loss for words too. Um, and it's gonna bring me to um what I was gonna say. God damn it! Now I missed it. I missed it. It's gone. We're all over the place today, dude. I had something and it doesn't tie in.
no,
Oh,
I think this isn't. Go ahead.
okay. So this is where I was gonna go. Since you feel that way, does having your future stepdaughter around, does that add a little bit of this sadness to you when you see Lyndon and how she gravitates towards you, and then like, hey, Mila's kind of around the same age, or does it bring you back to Katie being young, and then here she is now 17 fucking years old? Like, where did that time go? Like, does Lyndon's presence bring any of those emotions to you? I'm just curious.
That is another mixed bag. There's a lot of facets to that. Um, I mean, I don't know if I want to say foremost, but first of all, there is guilt
Yeah.
because here I am being a dad to this girl, and the dad that I wasn't able to be for Katie and the dad that I can be for Mila, but from 3,000 miles away.
Mhm.
So right off the bat, I feel guilt. And let me just start by saying I fucking love Lyndon. She's amazing. And I treat her basically like she's mine. But I told Kristen a while back, I said, "Hey, I want to let you know something. Like, I love Lyndon and I think she's amazing, but I know I don't post a lot of pictures of her or with her, and that's because I feel guilt around it. I feel this like, hey, here's me being a dad with this other girl while my other daughters just chill out solo in California." So there's that. And then there's this other thing where at this age, in this stage of my life, with the work that I've done and the person I am today, the amount of patience that I have with her is incredible to me. And so I appreciate and applaud myself for that. But I'm like, oh my God, dude, like I wish that I wish I could have been this father for Katie. I wish I could have had even half this patience with Katie. But the difference between a 36-year-old man who's lived a little bit of life and had 6 years in recovery and a fucking 18-year-old kid who's drinking every night and doing coke and ecstasy and whatever else, like it, you can't even. So that's a mixed bag too, man. I'm so proud to see the kind of father I can be to her, but it also in turn makes me feel bad.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And I can see it, dude. And I once again, I appreciate the vulnerability. Uh I get how it could make you have guilt, right? Like, and I'm glad that you told Kristen why you don't post about it, right? Like it's just
Which she
it,
totally understood. She's like, "Yeah,
absolutely,
I totally get it."
absolutely, dude. You have an amazing partner in Kristen. I expect nothing less coming from her with those responses. Um, but there is something that I want to hammer home on with you in regards to, hey, I wish I could have been this for Katie. It's the same regardless of, I wish I didn't go to jail so many times, or I wish I didn't get arrested or anything. It's the same. It's the same model. We wish we could have changed a lot of things, dude. But you were sick, brother, and she was, and it sounds so cheesy, right? It sounds so stupid. Like, hey, yeah, I know, dickhead. I was drunk. Yes, fantastic. But hey, Cameron, were you not being a father? No, you didn't have a kid, so you can't really speak on it. And that's true. That's true. I didn't have kids at that time. Thank God, because I would probably have the same reservations and the same feelings. But when you have those things come into your mind, you have to remember who you are today is way more important than who you were back then. And when I just saw you when you were out here in California, and Katie comes up upstairs from your dad's house and comes, and you guys are sitting there interacting with each other, that relationship is 3 million times more important and way more valuable than anything that happened back when you were in active addiction. And I imagine that it's going to be a lifetime deal that you're going to have to try to deal with, or we can start making the steps like you have been actively doing. Like I can tell by how you process it, um to slowly just let it go one day at a time, bro. That's going to come when it comes, and it may never go away. But by no means do I think that you are a bad father, that you're a terrible person. I know you love your kids, and it's a battle that people like us are kind of given when we're running and gunning, bro. Like, the people that we love the most catch the strays, right? Like
Mhm.
and we're that fucking tornado, dude. And unfortunately, it happens to the people that we love the most. And in this case, it was Katie, right? And we'd hit rewind if we could, but we can't. And so I implore you to be gentle with yourself when those thoughts come into your mind. It does no good to do that to yourself, brother. Do you get what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to tell you that your feelings aren't valid. because they more than are. But we can't fucking fix it, and what we're doing now is all that matters.
Yeah, and I do get that, and in most cases, I'm great with, "That was the past, you can't change it, we only look forward." But in this case, you have to realize, like, my 17-year-old daughter's been in therapy, and she's experienced more trauma in her young 17 years than probably a lot of adults, or especially definitely kids her age, have experienced. So I definitely carry some guilt around that, and we got through a rough patch. Like I mentioned earlier, she used to come visit me a lot. I used to be able to come visit her a lot more, but we've gotten to this rough patch of her um feeling a lot of resentment towards me, and in my perception, it was very, like, all of the sudden. And was it because nothing changed except I only got better as a
Mhm.
person and a dad. Um, but is it her and her friends talking and trauma bonding? I think she trauma bonds with a lot of her friends. My dad's told me that she said, like, only one person she knows has parents who are still married and together. So there's a lot of less traditional family situations going on, but she's gotten to this, like, deep resentment of me. And I had a talk with her last time I was home when we saw you, and I was like, I said what I said earlier, which is like, take it easy on me. I know. I know that I hurt you. I know I put you through some tough times, and I'm sorry. I can't begin to understand what that feels like for you, and I acknowledge that. But I'm trying. I'm doing better. I'm working on myself, and I'm here, like, with undying love for you and support for you no matter what. And without saying too much, her her mom's not doing great right now, and she has this undying love for her mom, which is fine. She's allowed to, but I'm like, grant me some of the grace that you grant your mom. I don't understand the inequity there between the two of us. And but the other part of it is, like, you're allowed to be mad at me. That's fine. Like, I deserve it. That's okay. And I'll wait. It's on your time, not mine, because the aggressor or the perpetrator doesn't get to tell the victim when and how they have to forgive them, you know? So I have to let her do that, but it's also like, grant me some grace. Like, if I still sucked and was still being a piece of shit, fine, you could hate me, but at least I'm doing better and I'm trying and I'm present now.
Yeah, dude. I think that's a very interesting dynamic that mom gets the preferential treatment, and you're still portrayed as like the bad guy. I wonder why that is. Um because that being privy to to the background of that whole situation, that makes absolutely no sense to me at all. Um but I mean we're all individuals, and Katie is an individual. I'm glad you had that conversation, and it highlights another very important point that all of our listeners can even highlight or pay attention to, that just because we are on the right path, and or we said our sorries and have done, triple axles and backflips to make every situation properly, amended, uh sometimes people take a little bit longer to actually kind of reach that forgiveness plateau, and even our loved ones, and sometimes that's going to take a lot longer than we want. And here we go, we talked about it in the pre-show. I've said this on here before. um but it's something I still struggle with today, like when I get into arguments with, like, my wife, and we don't argue a bunch, but if I will fix this fucking problem, and then they're still mad about it, and I literally I want to fucking shake them to death, dude. Like I have resolved the fucking problem. I have
No,
said sorry.
dude,
I have done everything. What could you possibly be mad about?
this
Please,
is
for the love of God, stop. Why? I mean, what else do I need to do? Do you want me to fucking walk outside with a fucking sign and be like, I'm an asshole? Like, what are we doing? Like,
Randall
let it
Brown
go.
quote number one. I'm sober now. Do you forgive me?
I mean, fuck me, dude. Like, I mean, and see, that's
It
something
doesn't
that I
work
said.
like that though,
It
the
doesn't.
Cree. You
I
don't get to
understand that.
punch someone in the face and be like, "Hey, I'm sorry. Give me right now. I said I'm sorry, even though I
No,
punched you in your fucking face."
no, and I've gotten better at it. It's one of my character
Yeah.
defects, and
Yeah, yeah.
I used to always just want to be like, I fucking said sorry. Here's the solution. Yada yada yada. Let it go one day at a time. We could die in 5 seconds. So hey, I love you. Let's move forward. And people don't operate like that. And just because I operate like that doesn't mean that they have to. So I'm glad that you see that. Hey, Katie's, she's gonna come around, dude. She's gonna come around. And what you said to her was absolutely right. And hopefully it's sunk into her brain. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this could be the dad that you want to be mad at in your imagination, who is the old dad. But this version of dad is not that guy, and I need you
Yeah,
to see that.
there actually has been a big change since that conversation in our relationship, and that's, I have to say, that conversation was so uncomfortable. I didn't wanna do it, I was scared to do it, I didn't know how to start it, how to do it, but it's a testament to have those difficult conversations with your kid, because if you just like, "Ooh, I know there's something going on, but I don't wanna say anything, and I don't wanna rock the boat, and I don't," like, you're just letting this resentment build or this issue fester or however you wanna say it, and once I broached the subject, it was so uncomfortable because I had to be vulnerable. I had to say, "Hey, dad was an asshole. Dad sucked. I get it. I and but also please love me. Please love me because I love you." It was everything about it was uncomfortable, but I did it,
Yeah,
and there's been such a huge improvement in our relationship since then, and coming to someone with your heart in your hand on bended knee and saying, "Hey, I fucked up, but I love you so much that I you take your time with this, but just know I'm always here for you and I love you more than you could ever imagine, and when you're ready to accept me back in and stop being mad at me, I will be right fucking here waiting."
absolutely, dude. Absolutely. And you know what, man? I think another thing that could bring you some solace when you're in this type of if when the guilt's setting in, um, you're a part of an exclusive group, dude. A lot of people in our community are have that same issue. You know what I mean? They may not be 3,000 miles away from their kids, but they get sober and kids want nothing to fucking do with them. And you're blessed in the regard that at least Katie still wants to talk to you. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So there's a positive spin on it, and you get to have Mila come out. You know what I mean? Like that's a testament to your sobriety, and that you really are doing it. You know, because a lot of people, dude, like they've done so much damage. Like I said, like my cousin Brittany, like who was on this show, you know what I mean, was deciding
Mhm.
if she was even gonna fucking go to her funeral. Right now, mind you,
Great episode, by the
now
way,
yeah,
so
now
check that out if you haven't.
for sure. Now, mind you, Toots never got fucking sober, but you get what I'm saying, right? And so give yourself a little bit of grace too. But I'm so glad that you're able to have those conversations with her, bro. That's so important. And I think it even comes back to what our Cassidy episode, right? Like with the whole transgender thing. Like, hey, we were talking about that. Like, well, some of these kids can't have conversations with their parents, so they may have to just go to the doctor and do it that way. Well, like you just said, having that uncomfortable conversation is important. So as parents, it's our job to have those uncomfortable conversations. We're the fucking adults here. I mean, for
And it
Christ's sake.
opens the door to having all the rest of the uncomfortable conversations.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. So that brings me to my last question for you, bro. And it's a trick question, but do you think that you made the right decision staying in West Virginia?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's, I mean, without a doubt, it's the right decision for me. I'm where I am in my life today and what I have going on for me, it just never would have happened if I stayed home or came home too quick. Like, I just wouldn't be where I am. And Chris and I have even talked about this. I'm not stuck here. I'm not saying I'll never come back. It's just what works for
No,
Karen.
Chip, no, don't do it.
I don't want to fry our California listeners, but yeah, that place does fucking suck. But
Do not come back here.
yeah, I'll visit San Diego anyway. No, but yeah, I mean, without a doubt, it has, and it, the most important thing, I guess, is the best version of me for my family, for my daughters, for everyone who knows me is the one they have since I've been here.
Yep.
And I guess that's the bottom line.
Yep. I couldn't agree more, man. That's why it was a trick question because, you could sit here and say, well, hey, I'm missing out on things with my kids or this and that. Well, you know what? The answer is yes. And it's a resounding yes because, ready, if you would have stayed or if you would have came back, who knows what version of Henry that might have been. You know what I mean? Hey, you could have been one, like I like to think about all the time, like I was one bad turn away from fucking being dead in a drunk driving accident every day of my life. And
Mm,
so you being out there in West Virginia and
being
look at
alive.
and being alive is
Yeah,
super super clutch. And
dude,
then dude,
great point.
yeah, it's super clutch, man. And so you're
I
able
could
to
be
actually
dead.
be
I
yeah,
could just be dead
you could just
instead of 3,000 miles away.
yeah, you could be dead, man. So or we could be in prison.
Literally.
Yeah, you
Like,
know
we're
what I
not
mean?
joking, we're not being facetious, like, I could not be on
No.
this planet anymore, so there's that.
Time like when people are like, "Hey, uh what why'd you get sober?" and things like that, but like, hey man, like I swear to you on Jesus, that I would be dead or in prison if I did not get sober 6 years ago. And overwhelmingly, I think I'd be dead. I think I'd be dead if I didn't get sober 6 years ago. Like that's a fucking fact, dude. Like my liver would like be fried, or I would have crashed and killed myself or somebody else, and it would have happened without a doubt. I was running out of my fucking lucky stars for sure, dude. So,
Yeah.
like I was saying, you made the right decision. I'm sorry that it gives you those hard and heavy moments, but that's just another testament to you just being alive, man, and having a big beating heart in your chest, dude. And if
Mhm.
anything, it shows just how much you really do love your kids. So if you ever doubt that you're a, a bad dad or anything like that, well, if you were, dude, you wouldn't care so much. So don't
Thank you.
ever fucking yeah, don't ever think that. And I don't have any respect lost because you're 3,000 miles away, because they get the version that I get. You know what I mean? And look at us now, dude. Right? And so, um, I appreciate you being so fucking honest with this, dude. It's a hard topic, but I think a lot of people are going to be able to relate. So, yeah, you made the right decision, bro. I do hate that you're that far away, but I mean, fuck, dude, don't come back here. It's a shithole.
And to all the parents out there, you made a good point. If you're worried if you're a good parent or not, that means you are, because you care and you're trying.
Straight up, dude.
And I have one last thing on the parenting thing, because you mentioned kinda offhandedly, jokingly, like, Mila with her stepdad out there, and my thing to all parents out there, because a lot of us are co-parenting with, exes, is any amount of love that your child is receiving is good. As long as your ex's partner is not a piece of shit, let them love your child. I I don't I'm happy for Mila and Ashley that they have someone like Dave, who is Mila's boyfriend. He's, or I mean, Ashley's boyfriend. He's an awesome dude. He's a firefighter. He has kids, so he's already used to being a parent. He gets along great with Mila. Mila loves him. And that's the end of the fucking story. There is
Yeah.
no more. There is no, well, I hope her, and I'm her real dad. She better know that. No, Dave is one sort of dad, and I'm another sort of dad, and fucking bless her heart and lucky her, she gets two. And I have this little anecdote about what we do here, co-parenting with Kristen's ex. on Halloween, we went trick or treating with Lyndon. It was me, Kristen, her dad, and her dad's girlfriend. Um, Lyndon was an alien, and we were all Kristen and I were spacemen, and her dad and his girlfriend were like aliens too. We were all themed, all four of us, and that's how the fuck it should be.
Yeah.
Because what a magical experience for Lyndon. How fucking cool is it to have not just two but four people who love and support you, who dress up with you. We all walk together. There's no animosity. The only thing that's important is that this child is happy and feels loved. I get along great with Kristen's ex. She has no animosity towards his girlfriend because they've moved on and they're fine. They have no emotional and romantic attachments with each other, and they have no reason to. And he's seen me with his daughter. Like, she fucking loves me. She runs and jumps into my arms, and she's even heard her. He's even heard her say that she loves me, and he's cool with it because why wouldn't you be? Like, let your child be loved. Don't be like jealous and fucking weird. If someone is being good to your child, let them. Like, don't, let's not have this weird, awkward jealousy, hatred. Like, no, motherfucker, that's my kid. No, if the relationship didn't work out and the new partner is loving your child, let them love your child. It's that simple to me.
Dude, that's a great fucking point, man, and that is super beautiful. Going back, and I didn't know that was her ex. I didn't know that. I thought they were just some random people that were
Oh,
trick or
did you
treating.
see the picture?
Yeah,
You
of
remember the picture? Yeah,
course, of course, yeah.
that's her
No,
dad.
dude, I didn't know that. That's fantastic. I think being cordial for the same common goal, right? We're trying to raise this child in a loving and caring home. And if both parties can do that and set their egos to the side, it can be a beautiful thing. I know my wife had the exact opposite of that growing up, I believe. It was a divorce, and one parent did this and one parent did that. I didn't grow up in it, but she said, it wasn't like this united front on hey, let's be Captain Love. um so I think that's super cool, man, and I'm glad that you have the opportunity to see it that way. And I think it's very important that Mila has that father figure with her in the day to day with Dave, and then she has you as well, and I think that's fantastic, dude. So chin chin and all the warm and fuzzies on that, dude. I think that's dope. Do you get along with the dad and the
Yeah.
girlfriend and shit?
Yep,
They're cool.
100%. We're totally cool. And I have to say, like, I adopted this line of thinking from my anger management teacher, Claudia Diaz. Shout out, RIP. Love her.
Rest in
She's
peace.
fucking awesome. And her thing is, this is how the court sees it, and this is how it should be. It's the best interest of the child. What is in the best interest of the child? And your kid does not deserve to be in the middle of whatever your problem is. So you never want to put down the other parent. Especially in court, it makes you look like a spiteful, angry dickhead. So and you don't make try to make your child's other parent look like a piece of shit in front of your child, because here's why. Perfect. My daughter, Katie, loves her fucking mom. So you putting their parent down that they love in front of them and probably possibly telling them stuff that's not true, they're gonna realize, like, well, why are they lying to me? One or two, like, I love my mommy. I love my daddy. Why are they saying this about my daddy? And then you're putting this weird fucking turmoil in your child. That's just unnecessary. So keep your disdain for your ex to yourself and do it over text or preferably on the phone so there's no record of it for court. But with your kid, with your kid, keep it kosher. Yeah, yep, mom's cool. All right. Anyway, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what we have to do for the young children in this world, right? Like they don't need to be seeing that type of shit, man. And I think a lot of people are too quick to fucking, just be like, hey, yeah, your dad's a big old piece of shit. Fuck that asshole. Blah 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 blah. Or mom's out doing all her fucking thing, blah blah blah, to make you look
Does
better.
no
And
benefit.
and
There's no
yeah,
positive.
what are you trying to fucking achieve there, dude? Like you're trying to get the kid on your side just so you can jab it to your fucking the other person, right? Well, dad did this or mom did that. That's why I'm super glad that I didn't ever have to deal with that. But I'm glad that you have a very cordial relationship, and I'm glad that everybody's thriving. So that's fantastic, dude.
Whoo! Now that we done got that shit out the way,
You
that
feel
was a
okay?
yeah. I feel good, dude. I'm sure I'm gonna feel good when we're done. I'm gonna have to sit by myself in silence for 5 minutes and ponder, but I feel good.
You did
I
great, dude.
uh I have another little story since we're doing the parenting episode. I asked a lawyer friend of mine to look into my legal situation to see if we can get a few things stricken from the record.
Nice.
And she comes back. She comes back and she's like, dude, you're never going to believe this. And it was in a big group chat, the fantasy football chat, because she's in it. She's like, you guys are never going to believe this. One of Henry's listed aliases for Sacramento County is Papa Loke. So at some point, I have no recollection of this. I have no idea. At some point, I got arrested or something. And my drunk ass said, they said, who are you? I said, Papa Loke, motherfucker.
Papa Doc, fuck a clock, fucking trailer, fuck everybody.
I
Fuck
don't
y'all
even
if
want to
you tell
win. I'm
me.
outie. Here, tell these people something they don't know about me. Papa
Well,
Loke.
dude, I was just about to say, dude, I didn't know about that. The Papa Loke alias, dude.
Like
Watch
it's
out,
in
the
the Sac
streets of
County
Sac,
Jail
dude.
website.
Oh,
I
fuck
really
me,
have
dude.
no idea how or why, but I think it's
Oh,
incredible.
dude, that's fantastic. Papa Loke, dude.
Stick.
Oh, dude, that's hilarious. Papa Loke. Well, Papa Loke, we we got to get down on some Super Bowl news, dude.
Now that we've made me feel like shit for an hour, let's make me feel like shit some more.
You know what, man? You know what? We talked about it. So your 49ers lost in the Super Bowl. How you holding up, bud?
Well, I may or may not have taken a personal day on that Monday. Um, you know, I'm let's put it like this, disappointed but not surprised.
Mm.
And when I listened back to our episode, which came out the next day, I was like, well, we pretty much hit it on the head. Like,
Mhm.
to take nothing away from him, Mahomes is a fucking gamer. He's gonna give you his best shot every fucking time. He's gonna make stuff happen. And the night of, I tried not to be bitter, and I was like, they called a fair game, and I don't think that. I mean, we lost, and I don't think anything they did or didn't call completely cost us the game. I think there was a lot of things that we did as a team and as a coaching staff that cost us the game more than the 500 holding penalties they didn't fucking call. But that's another story. Um, but part of it, I think Kyle Shanahan is a great offensive mind, but I see him failing in some points, like with the killer instinct and the putting it away and taking the opportunities and not fucking running the ball, not giving the ball to Christian McCaffrey for 2 whole quarters. Like, their only weakness as a defense is their run D, and their secondary is incredible, and we're throwing on every fucking first down. We have an average third down of fucking 12 yards. Like, what are we doing?
There's a lot to unpack in that.
Yeah.
But
It's
I,
fires me up.
I agree wholeheartedly, dude. I think first I'll hit on the Shanahan thing. I don't know if he necessarily makes the right adjustments when adjustments need to be made. Just from the outside looking in, right? Every 49ers game that I've seen them lose in a big game is because he absolutely do we froze again, refuses to make an in-game adjustment. And then the not running McCaffrey, that's the part that makes me think that it's fucking scripted, dude. Like, that's the same thing the Ravens did with him. I don't understand The
Yeah.
Chiefs even came out. The Chiefs even came out afterwards and said they wanted Brock Purdy to run the ball. I mean, to throw the ball. That's what they wanted him to do. And lo and behold, they accomplished that. I don't know, with fucking telekinesis or mind control, fucking pills or something like that, dude.
Dude.
Because I do not understand that game plan. Another thing that
Not to
was
mention,
disappointing.
he's the best fucking player on our team. Get him the
MVP of the
ball.
fucking league. Yeah, MVP of the league, dude,
Should have
hands down.
been, right?
Yeah, should have won me the fantasy league, dude. I gotta say, you had plenty of opportunities to win that fucking game. If you could have put that game away in the first fucking half. In the first half,
Yeah.
and when you didn't, I had that instinctual feeling like, oop, this is what's gonna happen. You gave Mahomes too much fucking time, and
Yep.
going to come down and he's going to give it to you raw. I mean, if that Bills AFC fucking championship game was any indication that anything is possible with that dickhead,
Yeah.
nothing was
Dude,
safe.
even on that final drive when it was like 5 minutes left, and what do we need to do? We need to waste the fucking clock. The
What are we
very first
doing?
play, they threw the ball.
I mean, what are we
And
doing?
it was complete, so it worked out okay, but, like, why? We dropped that, we're already on second down, and the fucking clock is stopped. Like, they want nothing more than that, what we're serving them on a platter, and it's like, dude, McCaffrey's the best player on our team. Their rush defense is the worst part of their defense. We need to run the clock out. All right, let's throw it.
Yeah.
What? And that's
Dude.
why, like, I can't blame the refs. I can't really complain. Like, we failed as a coaching staff and a team. Like, and honestly, coaching. And we're throwing it to Juwan Jennings, which, by the way, he's awesome. And he was probably the MVP of the Super Bowl. But what the fuck for us? But what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, we have Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, and Debo Samuel, and George Kittle, who had 2 catches for 4 yards. What are we doing?
Dude, he couldn't. Purdy didn't have the best of performances in that game either. But he was under fucking duress for
Yeah.
majority of the game. Like, your O-line was not doing too
Dude,
great.
did you see the holding penalty they called on Trent Williams
Yeah,
against
dude.
the holding penalties they didn't call on them all game?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it was absurd.
Yeah. Well, it all comes back to what we talked about, my friend.
Golden boy Patty Mahomes.
They got what they wanted to. We got Entertainment Tonight
You
posting.
wear short skirts, I wear
Yep.
cherry
We get to sit there and watch them kiss and fucking and say they love each other, and confetti was falling. It was all a part of the master plan, pal. All a part of the master plan. But I think you guys are in for a change. Who knows if you're going to sign Ayuk in the offseason? He's going to want like 20-something million. You
I
guys going
think
to
he
pay him
wants
that much?
out. I think he wants out, dude.
So
I think he's pissed about the way the Super Bowl went, as he should be. I mean, I get it. But he's a fucking he's a number one receiver. And I'm losing faith in Debo because Debo's a fucking incredible player, but he's hurt all the goddamn time. And if you're not there, then you're not helping.
Dude, the Greenlaw knee injury or the Achilles,
That was huge. Achilles. That was huge.
They targeted his fucking replacement the entire time.
9 receptions, 9 targets for 9 receptions and a touchdown to his replacement. Yeah, and that's Patrick Mahomes. He's smart. He's a fucking gamer. I mean, I'm sick of him already, and we got at least 10 more years of this shit, so whatever.
Dude, I hope he has like the Brett Favre treatment next year or something like that, dude. Like just pops the Achilles, or not the Brett Favre, the Aaron Rodgers deal. Brett Favre, they're the same thing, dude. Packers QBs, all right, leave me alone. But
no, I'm laughing that you're wishing this death upon him because I want to say I don't, but wink, wink.
Dude, I hate him so much, bro. Well, all right, dude.
Don't give him help. He's good enough. He doesn't need all the help that the league and the refs give him. He doesn't need it. No. Let him win on his own. Yeah. Like, to me, his legacy is tarnished. 3 Super Bowls, 3 fucking Super Bowls. They haven't called holding on the Chiefs O-line.
Yep.
And when they did call it? Against fucking Tom Brady and the Bucks, because Tom Brady was still the golden boy. Now it's Patrick Mahomes. And now he doesn't need help. He's got fucking 3 already. He's got at least 10 more years. He's a fucking phenomenal player. Let him win them on his own. Stop helping him. To me, the legacy is tarnished because you have all the help in the world. I think he's a fucking great player. He's incredible. Let him win without help. That's all I'm saying. That's all I
Yeah.
ask.
Hey,
Rant
I don't
over.
think that's gonna change. I don't think that's gonna change. I don't think that's
No,
gonna change at all.
we need a new golden boy.
Yeah, I don't see one coming either. I don't think Caleb Williams is the guy or anything like that. I don't see a not in this year's draft.
All right. Well, everyone stopped listening 15 minutes ago, so let's get out of here.
All right, dude. Well, hey, this was a good episode, man. Thanks again for talking about it. And actually, it gave me some insight and gave me something to think about because it's something I had been thinking about. Like I said, it pops in my old little Cree mind from time to time. So I will give us our spiel. Give us a follow on everything. We are on Google Podcasts, Samsung Music, Amazon Music, Apple, uh, Spotify, YouTube. Check us out on YouTube. All these videos are going to be up on Monday when the episode drops. Give
What
us a
else
follow on
did you
TikTok and
add
Instagram.
today
I
besides
added
Google?
Deezer as well.
Oh, Deezer
Deezer,
nuts.
yeah, Deezer nuts. I think, dude, that's all I time. Deezer, yeah, like I said, Google. I'm setting
Wait,
up a
say Deezer one more time.
Deezer, Deezer, dude, Deezer. Dude, it feels weird to say it, Deezer. Okay, so we also I'm setting up a locals account. That is like a social networking where you create communities. I'm trying to
Mm.
figure out the platform, but you'll be able to, ask questions on there. You'll be able to engage with us directly. You'll even be able to throw us a nickel or two if you're feeling generous. So once I get that set up all the way, I will have that link in the show description and in our link tree. With that being said, we do have merch. There's a support this podcast button down at the bottom. If you could help in any which way, 99 cents and up for a monthly subscription helps this podcast tremendously. We have seen a nice little spring of growth, and we appreciate everybody who has been a part of that. Welcome to the Rude Gang if you're new. We love you, and stick around because we're just getting started. And do you have
That's
anything
right.
before I close?
I do. I think it's important to remind people that if you're just listening, cool. We're glad to have you. We love you. But
Cool.
please, please press the follow button, press the like
Please.
button, leave a 5-star rating. Just it takes 1 second. Literally just click the button. It helps us tremendously. We're trying to spread the gospel to all the people in all the lands and get the message out there and grow and whatever the fuck else we're trying to do. Just click like and share it. If you don't want to share it on social media, just text message it to a friend. That we fucking love that too. That is just as awesome. And also reach out to us. Reach out
Yeah.
if you know me or Cam, reach out, messenger, text, whatever you have, or Instagram, Rude Dude Pod. If you don't have our personal number, whatever, reach out. Do you have a question? Do you have a topic that you want us to do on the podcast? Do you want to talk privately and not have be blown up? Hey, I'm having a little trouble staying sober. Hey, I was wondering about this, that. Hit us up. We want to talk. We respond to messages and we want to talk, and we're legitimately here to help.
Absolutely, dude. And that is a great point. Hit the follow button, please, for the love of God. And actually, a lot of people have been doing that. We've seen a substantial amount of people doing that organically. Our 5-star rating has gone up too. We had 44, 46 reviews, and now it's up to 52. So a lot of people are hitting that. We appreciate it. But yeah, reach out to us. And that's another reason why I wanted to create locals, because it's another way for you guys to engage with us. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. I think next week Hen's going to try to scramble and get us a guest, somebody from New
Yeah,
York. I don't know.
we got young Ray Glimpf,
All
awesome
right.
dude. I've done a lot of work for him. I met him in a BNI group, and he's a hustler, man. He's just flat out a hustler. He came. He's a legitimate rags to riches story. He's a very impressive dude. He's a little younger than me, and he's a millionaire. And he's done it with through grinding, hustling, real estate. And he's just crushing it, man. He's a very inspirational story. So I'm really excited for that. And just a positive dude. He's just a great dude.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna kind of try to get some more guests just like that, right? Like, hey, some more people who are succeeding at life.
Yeah.
and following their dreams and things like that.
I
Hopefully
don't
we can.
believe that addiction is part of his story at all. And that's okay. Like that's the other point we want to make. This isn't just straight recovery. This is about, being a successful human being.
Yep, and how we get there. So cool. I'm excited about that one, pal.
People that can bring value to our listeners.
Word. Well, all right, dude. I will finish it like I always do. I love you, Hen, very much. Thanks again for being so fucking vulnerable and talking about this hot button issue. And now we're done with it. So you did it, pal.
I know, and the fact that we said we should do this like 6 weeks ago, and I've had to sit on it this whole time. Hallie Julia, we done did her. I
We
love
done.
you too. Valkyrie. And remember, children, be yourself and fuck what they talking about.
All right, everybody, watch your ass. Papa Loke is on the streets out there in West Virginia, dude. The feds are on his ass. All
The
right.
tree father.
Later, dude.
Had a baby shrimp boy.